causeway is on fire. Canoes slam into stone. On both sides, black water packed with warriors. The strangers finally understand. This city doesn't have to beat them. It only has to trap them. The causeway is on fire. Smoke claws at your throat. You can't see the end of the road, only slick stone and the black lake on both sides. Then you hear paddles. Not a few, hundreds. Canoes slam into the causeway. Shadows rise, shouting. Stones whip through the dark. Arrows hiss. The strangers, bleeding, exhausted, still clutching sacks that clink, finally understand. Tenochtitlan doesn't have to win. It only has to close the exits. A man stumbles near the edge. The weight on his back drags him down. The lake swallows him without mercy. Ahead, the road narrows. Behind, the city glows like a burning crown. This isn't a battle. It's a door slamming shut. And here's the part that sounds like a lie. The men trapped on that road were never an army big enough to conquer an empire outright. When Hernán Cortés marched inland in 1519, he had only a few hundred Spanish soldiers, a small number of horses, and some cannons. Deadly tools, but tiny compared to the world he stepped into. So, 168 men is the feeling of it. A small force in the wrong place, somehow triggering a collapse no one could reverse. Because the real weapon wasn't just steel. It was the crack already running through the empire. Quiet, invisible, echoing under the surface. The Aztec Empire wasn't one happy, united nation. It was a powerful tribute system, a web of city-states bound by obligation, fear, and resentment. Some paid because they had to. Some waited for a chance to stop. Cortés learns the only question that matters: who already hates the center? That question leads to Tlaxcala, an independent rival battered by years of Mexica pressure. At first, Tlaxcala fights the Spaniards. Brutally. Then, the fighting stops, for one reason: opportunity. Tlaxcala sees the newcomers as a lever. The Spaniards see Tlaxcala as oxygen. A deal forms over a shared enemy. And the few hundred strangers stop being alone. They become the sharp tip of a spear backed by thousands of indigenous allies. People with their own reasons for wanting the Mexica system to break. On the road toward Tenochtitlan, violence leaves a message. At Cholula, tension snaps and terror spills into the streets. Whether it's paranoia or preemptive brutality, the result is the same. Fear spreads ahead of Cortés like smoke. Then, in November 1519, they enter Tenochtitlan, a metropolis on water, linked by causeways, fed by canals, alive with markets and temples. Montezuma II meets them with ceremony, gifts, protocol, a welcome that feels like a test. And the next move should have gotten every outsider killed. They seize the emperor, not with a grand assault, by turning politics into a cage. Montezuma becomes a hostage inside his own city. Orders still go out. Tribute still moves. The empire tries to hold itself steady, because if the center shakes too hard, everything breaks. For a moment, the impossible happens. A handful of outsiders are sitting in the throat of the empire, and the empire is still breathing. But you can't hold a city hostage forever. Cortés is forced away to deal with threats on the coast. He leaves a smaller group behind. Pressure builds. And then, the worst spark lands in the worst crowd. During the festival of Tlaxcala, the Spaniards strike, and a celebration turns into a massacre. The city detonates. Barricades rise, stones rain down, canoes pack the canals. Rooftops fill with warriors. The palace becomes a trap, and the outsiders realize they're not occupying Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan is surrounding them. They try to use Montezuma to calm the storm, but the spell is broken. Montezuma dies in the chaos, and with him dies the last thin thread of negotiation. Now it's survival math. And that hostage move? It's like grabbing the steering wheel in a moving car. You might control the next turn, but the crash is now guaranteed, because once people see their ruler controlled, trust evaporates. Every rival smells blood. After Moctezuma's death, leadership shifts fast. Cuitlahuac takes power, drives the invaders out, and then, cruel timing, smallpox kills him. The city crowns a young war leader, Cuauhtemoc, and he inherits a nightmare. Rebuild defenses, hold alliances together, and keep a starving city alive while enemies regroup outside the lake. The outsiders attempt escape under darkness. They load themselves with gold. They carry wounded men. They run. But the lake is alive. Canoes surge from both sides. Bridges are ripped away. Men drown under the weight of treasure, because greed becomes an anchor when panic hits. The causeways become kill lanes, and the Night of Sorrows becomes a near annihilation. Cortés survives, barely. And then comes the twist most people don't expect. The decisive blow isn't a sword. It's smallpox. Smallpox arrives in 1520 and tears through communities with no prior immunity. Leaders die. Fighters weaken. Grief and confusion jam the system that keeps a huge city alive. So when Cortés regroups, he returns to a world already bleeding internally. He rebuilds alliances. He gathers more forces. And in 1521, he comes back not as a guest, but as a siege. Causeways are contested. Supply lines are cut. Boats fight on the lake. Hunger and thirst do the work steel can't. Fighting turns brutal and close. Bridge to bridge, canal to canal. The city holds on with raw courage, but courage can't eat, and it can't drink. So here's the aha moment, the piece that snaps the whole story into focus. The Aztec Collapse wasn't a clean defeat by 168 men. It was multiple pressures hitting the same structure at once. A tribute empire full of resentment. A rival like Tlaxcala ready to strike. A hostage emperor that shattered trust. A massacre that lit the capital on fire. A devastating epidemic. And finally, a siege that turned the lake into a cage. The Spaniards were the spark, but the blaze was fueled by local politics, shifting alliances, and disease. That's how a small group crashes something enormous, not by lifting it, but by cracking the supports while it's already creaking. And if this feels distant, listen to what it's really saying. Empires don't always die from the strongest enemy outside their walls. They die when pressure finds the crack, when fear moves faster than orders, when alliances flip, when survival breaks the rules people thought were permanent. Tenochtitlan's drums faded, the smoke cleared, but the pattern stayed. A few outsiders walked into a city on water, and the ripples traveled across centuries. Because history never dies, it just echoes. Subscribe for more.